Welcome to the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast, where you learn the best doubles lessons to improve your game and win more matches while getting to know some of the top doubles players and coaches on the planet. I'm your host, Will Bochek. This podcast, my weekly strategy newsletter, and my website all focus on the goal of better understanding the sport of doubles and helping players like you improve faster through actionable advice that you can use in your very next match. My goal is to provide the best doubles resources in the world. And to do that, I study, analyze, and work with players at every level of the game, all the way up to the ATP and WTA tours. If you enjoy this podcast, consider becoming a Tennis Tribe member to go even deeper and take your doubles IQ to the next level. Members get access to premium podcast episodes, weekly video lessons, monthly strategy webinars, courses, ebooks, gear discounts, and a lot more. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to see all the benefits and sign up. Here's today's episode. You're about to hear my conversation with Neal and Ken Skupski. Neal is the number one doubles player on the ATP Tour, having recently won the Australian Open title alongside his new partner, Chrstian Harrison. Neal's brother is Ken Skupski, who is also his former doubles partner and current coach. Ken was a top 50 doubles player as well. We had this conversation in the hotel lobby just outside of the Dallas Open a few days before Neal and Chrstian's first round match. I started out talking about the Winter Olympics, which were going on in the background, before we dove into tennis. I asked Neal what he's learned over the last year, having made 3 of the last 4 major finals, including winning the Australian Open earlier this year. After that, I talked to Ken about how he thinks about improving as a doubles coach, especially having been a top 50 player himself. Then we dove into the new partnership with Chrstian Harrison. They talk a little bit about off-season training, what's worked so well early in the season, what adjustments they've had to make. They discussed the British tennis system a bit and more. And then we talked about their brother/coach-player dynamic. So obviously, being brothers, they have a previous relationship. They know each other super well. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of that? And how do they deal with conflict if it does arise? And then I asked Ken about a drill he was doing earlier in the day with Neal and Chrstian. It is one of my favorite doubles drills. I call it the Serve +1 volley drill, and we really dive into the weeds on this one. Ken does a really good job of articulating what to focus on with your footwork, what to focus on with your hands and your racket face, and then he also shares what to think about from a coach's perspective as well. And then at the end, we talk about Sam Querrey's recent comments on doubles on his Nothing Major podcast. This is a really wide-ranging, fun conversation. You're going to get to know Neal as well as Ken, who's never been on the podcast before. I had a lot of fun chatting with them. I think you're going to really enjoy listening to them as well. So without further delay, enjoy this conversation with Neal and Ken Skupski. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm here at the Dallas Open with Neal and Ken Skupski. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thanks for coming on. So I want to talk about the Australian Open run, obviously, winning the Australian Open, a great way to start the year, like we were just talking about, Ken. But before that, we've got the Olympics playing here in the background. So I wanted to start with some Olympics questions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Between the two of you, well, let's start favorite Winter Olympic sport for each of you.
I don't even know what you would call it. There's 4 people that race on.
The bobsled.
No. It's yeah, I can't remember what they call it, but they all race downhill. And it's not skis. It's snowboarding. Yeah. And they all race. It's an amazing thing.
Sounds like carnage. That's what
it
is.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it is. I actually don't know what you would call it.
Motorbikes, like cross country, like dirt bikes.
Like on the moguls?
Well, it's 4 guys just start at the top and they all have to work their way to the bottom.
Okay.
And there's a winner, one of the 4 advances?
Yeah, but it's like yeah, it's on like a weaving course, which is pretty interesting. There's a few jumps involved.
Okay.
I find that really interesting.
Okay, that sounds fun. I didn't watch that one.
I think my favorite could be the curling. I wish I could do it one day and play. I mean, in the past I played bowls, but I would see curling's, seems to be always, Great Britain are pretty good at it. So I tend to watch it. We're always kind of up for a medal. So it's something that I'd want to do in the future and try out.
Yeah, I want to try curling as well. I've never done that before. Who would win in a downhill skiing race?
Never skied in my life. I'd love to try.
Maybe both of you would lose.
I think
so. Actually, making it to the finish line would be a tough thing.
Yeah, we'd roll down the hill.
Who would be better at curling, you think?
Ooh, I think we'd both be pretty good.
Yeah.
Both.
I'm probably the guy with the brush.
Just sweeping.
You'd be the better sweeper.
Yeah, I'm a good sweeper.
That's what I like to do.
That's what my wife says I do at home.
With the 4 kids sweeping up after them. So I'll give it to Ken.
Okay. All right, let's move on to tennis. So you've made 3 out of the last 4 major finals, reached world number 1 again. What have you learned over the last year?
I guess to never give up, to be resilient. Obviously played with Joe Salisbury last year and came up short in the French Open and the US Open. Having the match points of the US Open, it didn't take it out of me, but it just kind of gave me more energy to kind of go again and to have its fine margins in doubles. When I went back a couple of years ago after being number 1 and then I went down the rankings, I wasn't settled with a partner. I played with like Santi Gonzalez, played a little bit with Mike Venus, and then played with Joe Salisbury. So I went down to about maybe 30 or 40, and it was like, can I get back to world number 1? Can I make Grand Slam finals again? And I needed to settle down with a partner that I trusted. And I think that's where I found Joe Salisbury, multiple Grand Slam winner, and another Brit. We could play the Olympics together. We could play Davis Cup together. And then to kind of have Ken as our coach and travel, it was kind of, we had a structure that we could kind of believe in. And I think that's what I needed. I think that's what Joe needed. And then, it's the start of a new year. This year with Chrstian Harrison, I was very excited when we decided to play together at the end of last year. And once he agreed, I was very excited, and also kind of give me a bit more fire about making Grand Slam finals again. I knew Chrstian, he was on the up. He's got a lot of firepower, and I think that's what I needed. He brings a lot of energy to the court, and it kind of keeps me going, which is great. It's got me going more than ever, really, I think, and very focused on staying at world number 1, trying to get Chrstian higher in the rankings, and to obviously have a good year. And our goal is to finish number 1 as a team.
So I spoke with Chrstian about a month and a half ago when y'all were together in Baton Rouge training. At the time during that training, did you have a sense that, yes, we can win a major this year? Yes, we can win the Australian Open? Or did you feel like the level was there, or you're still kind of working through things at the time?
I mean, I totally believe that our level was there. It just depended if we could put it all together. I didn't think we could. Well, I thought we could win the Australian Open, but I didn't think really it would happen straight away. There was, during the week in Baton Rouge, it was more the fact to kind of get Chrstian more adapted to the British system. I was telling him a lot of things, how we train, how we practice, how we warm up before matches, having the stats, having the looking at videos the night before, having little team meetings. And I think that's what has helped him a lot as well. I think he needed a bit more structure. And I think he's enjoying the partnership from what how he acts. So am I. So it's definitely something that came very early in the partnership. I still believe there's a lot of work to do. and that's where we got Ken involved and Louis Caillet back in England, having the statisticians at the LTA to help us get to where we want to be. And yeah, we just want to keep improving every day. If we put the practice in on the court, day in, day out, good things will happen, in our opinion.
Ken, how do you think about your own improvement as a coach? Obviously, you played, so you can relate to what's going on the court for them, but coaches have to improve as well, right? If Neal wants to improve his serve from one year to the next, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
What about for coaches? How do you improve your serve or your return? What are the things you think about improving?
I think a lot of it to do for me is man management, to sort of know when to say stuff, when to just be quiet and let the guys settle. And sometimes in practice you've got people who can speak too much, but it's also quite important to not say much as well. And I think finding that balance. I think we obviously have a good good relationship as brothers. I mean, you hear of some brothers that don't get along, but we get along great. And yeah, I mean, I think there'll be times where he might not necessarily always agree with me, and we talk about it and we find a solution. The difficulty you always find is adding someone else to that team. Sometimes it comes with a coach as well. And for the first time, we've got a situation where I'm in control of both players. And again, as Neal said, is trying to get, both players in harmony, trying to get them up to speed in the same way. And there is an element of, the British culture that we've created with, Brits doing really well is, I think Chrstian wanted to be part of that. And he's been very open and very sort of understanding of, he's brought a certain, his tennis is there, but to create the professional tennis player as well, that sort of brings everything, whether it's, on court, off court, preparation, all that type of stuff. That's my job, to make sure he's aware of all these different things and make him feel comfortable as well. And I can't compliment both of them enough, because they both sort of hit the ground running in terms of all them things. In Baton Rouge, from a coaching perspective, I was watching the videos I wasn't actually there, but I had videos to sort of analyze every single practice. And I think it's just doing that sort of extra little bit of work to sort of really see what each player brings to the court and how we can make that effective on a match court. And I think we talked about it before, is obviously the way the game's gone is so much about power and big serves and using it effectively, because it's great to have a massive serve, but if it only goes in 60% of the time, then it's not as good as someone who hits it maybe 5 miles an hour slower, but hits it at 85%. If you hit your spots and you get the ball in play more often, it's making sure that when the stats that I read are effective for what Chrstian brings, or if they're not, is to sort of explain, maybe you might have to rein something in, or maybe choose a better shot, or maybe that, option of you playing in a certain formation hasn't worked, because, you're only winning 2 out of 10. So it's adapting to sort of the environment that you're in with having two guys. But I couldn't compliment Chrstian as a professional. He seems to be really good and very keen to learn. And it's always easier for a coach in that sense. We haven't had any sort of disagreements. He's a yes sir type of guy. We sort of made fun of the situation in Australia. It was like, I saluted him after the final, because it was almost like he'd completed his mission.
Yeah.
And that was what we were treating it like. We were going to war. We were sort of backing each other. And it's finding them fun little things to sort of give them to go on court. And so far that's worked. I'm going to have to find something else, but he's got his touch this week in Dallas. So we're going to have to try and figure out something for his sort of next mission.
Did you feel like in Australia, and either one of you can answer this, we talked about the first match, lost the first set, and then after that didn't drop another set. I think only played maybe 2 tiebreakers, which is a crazy low amount, especially for men's doubles. Do you feel like you kind of got the ball rolling after that first match and it was just kind of momentum from there? Or how did you experience kind of the 2 weeks? Were there some kind of bumps in the roads, even though the score lines maybe didn't show it?
We'd played the week before in Adelaide. Mm-hmm. I think you never know how a new partnership's going to turn out. There's obviously going to be a few things that you need to iron out pretty early on. And I think from the first match we played in Adelaide, it was Matos and Orlando Luz, difficult team.
They'd already played 5 matches, hadn't they?
Yeah, they'd played the week before, I think in Brisbane maybe. So they were up to speed already. But we won that match. We played a good first match of the season. And there was, we saw in that match, there was a few little things that we needed to sort out before going into Australia. We lost in the semis to Chrstian Harrison, but we actually played a very good match. I thought we may have been the better team for a good amount of that, but that's obviously doubles at the ATP level. You lose the last 10 minutes, then you're at the tournament. So we went into Australia with confidence, even though we'd only played a couple of matches together. And then we played against Wallner and Schneider, who I'd never played before, but can be a very difficult team. They played a good first set, and then in the second set, I was love 40 down, and then Chrstian was love 40 down in our service games. And just to get through them moments, we knew were huge. Coming through big moments, you get belief, you gain confidence, you have trust in your partner, and then we kind of put it all together at the same time, and we just kind of rode with that and won that match. And then we took it into the next match, and it was from there we kind of we found our level, and when I think both play well at the same time, we're a very, very dangerous team. And especially with Chrstian's serve, his returns, we can go through games very, very quickly. I just need to be ready for that. Especially during his service games, he could just go ace, 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 and I haven't touched the ball. So it's one of those things where I've just got to get used to that as well. But yeah, we took a lot of confidence from getting through that first round. And yeah, like you said, we came through tough matches, and I think the big match was the quarterfinals. I mean, you played Noosa and Rickel. I had lost to them the year before with Salisbury and Adelaide, and we played nearly a flawless match. We destroyed them really, and then that gave us so much confidence against Granola Zeballos, who I've struggled with in the last couple of years, especially in big finals. And to get through that was huge for both of us. And yeah, it was a very tough final against Polmans and Kubler. The roof was closed, which is something that we hadn't practiced for. They closed it a couple of minutes before walking onto the court, and then them two they brought a big level. We had to raise ours, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
I think against you too. Also is Grand Slam tennis. It's long, like it's a long 2 weeks, and we've always talked about you have to break them up. You have to break it into 2 separate tournaments. First 3 rounds, and then the second 3 rounds. You don't win the tournament in the first week. You get through the first week, and it gives you the opportunity. Generally, once you win the quarterfinal stage, you take all 8 teams. They're all playing well. They've all had 3 matches. There's probably, if they're not seeded, they're beaten seeds. So everyone's playing well. And I think once you can get on a run of how many times in the season do you win 3 matches in a row? You have to make finals somewhere else. So that is one thing I've always sort of tried to get into them is like, don't think about winning the Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. Win week 1, get to the end of week 1, and then we'll address where we're at. And then let's go into week 2. And the idea is we're playing well. We're playing really well. And then it's just about executing in the big moments. And as we got a walkover almost, what was it, round of 16? Yeah, 3 or 5 love. We sort of had a rough idea what was going to happen in that match. And it's nice to get through that because it's a day of less stress. Yeah. And it's nice to sort of, as you show, even though it's singles and doubles, it's completely different. It's nice to just have a little bit of downtime in the middle of a Grand Slam where it's not every day. And the other thing for me with Neal is, as he's got older, the 2 Grand Slams he's won, he's lost first round and mixed. And sometimes it's, the extra stress of having more matches in the tournament can sometimes have an effect, not just on him, but on any doubles player. And just the way the schedule can fall, where you play one evening in the mixed doubles and then you're first or second on the next day in doubles, it's a quick turnaround and you've got to be ready for it. So I'm not saying he shouldn't play mixed ever again, but I do believe that it does have an effect if you are unlucky with the schedule. And again, especially in Australia, if you're playing in 44 degrees, you'd be unlucky in playing on the wrong day, and you need to conserve your energy. If that's the main event. And fortunately, in some ways, Nick Kyrgios did us a favor.
He means 44 degrees Celsius.
For the, 113 Fahrenheit.
For the American listeners. Have you looked at your mixed results and seen how they correlate with your men's doubles to see if there is like an effect? Because I was looking at I think it was your Wikipedia page earlier today, and you didn't play a lot of mixed, right?
I wasn't ranked high enough. I wanted to.
Okay, there you go.
I feel like it's changed a lot recently. Like over the years when Ken was playing, a lot more of the top guys would play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot now they tend to kind of not a lot of the top guys play. Like Bruno Zabayos, I know they never play.
Yeah.
And they seem to be at the end of men's doubles events, whatever tournament they play in. So I think it was much tougher. And obviously in a Master Series, Ken never was fortunate to play a Master Series, and he was career high was 44.
Yeah,
And it's like I know guys that a lot lower these days play Master Series nearly all the time.
Mhm.
So I think things have changed over the years, and I think Ken was just a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah. Talk a little more about you mentioned that you'll get along well, obviously being brothers, but also coach-player relationship. How does that work? Do you try to like compartmentalize like both relationships, or do you find a way to like blend it? And then if you can share like when you do get into an argument or disagreement, I imagine you have to. I mean, your brothers and your coach-player. How do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, we've never really argued that much, have we? We don't really fall out that much, if ever.
I mean, I don't remember our last argument about tennis or in life.
No, and I think it's because we like the same things.
Yeah,
Like we love football, love soccer, we love LSU, we love coffee. You know, we love golf. We don't have like a complicated life.
Yeah.
It's quite simple, and you know, we're both in long-term relationships. You know, you'll be married soon, but you know, I've got a wife and 4 kids. He loves my family. You know, we're a very close-knit family, and it's, you know, I sometimes wonder how other people don't have that situation.
Yeah.
Rather than like think we're unusual because we do get along.
Yeah.
You know,
but I think Ken's always been kind of the coach anyway, even from a younger age, or when I came out of college, when we started playing together. That's maybe when we had a few more arguments when I was a little bit immature, and Ken was, when we were traveling together, and Ken was been on tour for six years before. And then we started playing together, he came down to play the Futures, Challengers. I think that's where the arguments may have happened a little bit. But nowadays, I think we both know how difficult tennis is.
Mm-hmm.
And to add extra stress to it is only going to hurt you in the short term, in the long run. So yeah, I think it helps that Ken's been around the tour for a long time. He knows what happens, how
I know as a player what it
Yeah.
feels like to lose a match in a certain scenario.
Yeah.
I know sometimes when nerves are kicking in certain scenario, I know them feelings. I never got to do that at a Grand Slam, you know, final or anything like that, but they don't necessarily change the feelings, you know? And I'm well aware of, you know, I could name everything about him in terms of a tennis player, but also as a person. And when things, you know, I can see it in his eyes sometimes, you know, other people might not see it, but that's what I'm lucky as a brother. You do get that sort of sixth sense. But it's been great. I mean, it's been great. And my sort of transition from player to coach has been seamless because fortunately it's with my brother. I think it would be a lot more challenging if I'd have done it with someone I didn't know, you know, and not a brother and sort of found my way as a coach. I feel like I've learned a lot and I could potentially then go on to work with other players now. But yeah, I think over the years, I've always felt like I've mentored him and tried to sort of steer him in the right direction. And his professionalism has gone through the roof. He's much more professional than I ever was. And credit to him for that. And he's reaped the rewards for it. So yeah, I mean, I not that I lived my life through his tennis career, but I'm envious of everything that he ended up achieving because I I wanted it as well. And I just was unfortunately never capable of doing it, whether it's from a performance level or mentally even, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a bit unfortunate, I would say, with the way the rankings worked at the time, because I always feel you always had to play up, always had to find someone higher, and we were always on the same ranking. And when we did obviously end up doing well together, I got a blood clot in my leg, which set me back, basically not ended my career, but I basically started again mentally when I started playing again after that. And I sort of knew that at that stage, that was it. And I was 37, whatever. But
yeah,
that's another story.
Yeah. It still seems cool to be a part of the team and see what your brother's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he broke my duck because he'd done really well, and he'd won Eastbourne grass court, he'd won Queen's grass court, he'd won Wimbledon grass court tournament. We'd never won another tournament together. He'd made about 15 other finals, but we'd never won a hardcore title or a clay title. So I'm glad we've got that one out of the way with Australia. So. I just need to complete the set now with clay. But yeah.
I wanted to talk about the drill you were doing earlier at the practice facility in there. It's one of my favorite drills, the server's partner, I guess, is what it's called. You're working on that with both Neal and Chrstian. Describe that drill for the listeners and what's going through your head as the coach as you're kind of feeding it and what you're looking for from the player.
Yeah, it's a drill that all the British guys do really well. I would say it's the drill that I would say probably sets the British guys apart compared to the other guys. And I think it sort of comes from being absolutely particular with every single move, whether it's hand movements, whether it's with body movements and footwork. So a lot of the guys sort of set up in a position which is most of the time it's from I formation because they play a lot of I formation. And, you just using Chrstian as the example is he wasn't necessarily setting up with his footwork, where his feet started before the serve was hit when I'd seen him on video. So it was just making sure that every time you sort of get set up and the first move that you make, it has to be neutral. It has to be so particular that the guy who's returning the serve doesn't know where you're going to move because it's two steps. It's that initial step and then move to your position based on whether the server is moving left or right, and then in the net player left or right also. So to make sure that is the most critical so that the returning doesn't know where the player is then moving. And then from there, it's being effective to sort of read the play, knowing where the returner potentially can hit the ball. And once they make contact with the ball is where the ball goes. And a lot of the time, you see a lot of guys, they tend to feel like they have to add power. So the racket goes back behind their head or to the side. And the British guys do a really good job of keeping their hand out in front and minimizing the racket work. So the ball sort of deflects off the racket because there just isn't enough time. And I try to feed it. I mean, Neal could tell me whether the pace of the feed is fast enough, but I feel like I try to feed it as fast as I possibly can because I want them to be able to cognitively figure things out as quick as possible. So when they play anybody with a fast serve or fast return, it just becomes second nature to deal with balls at that pace. And again, I think Neal, I'd put him in the top 3 in the world in that position. Not just from, technically, but from a reading perspective. And it helps when Chrstian's banging down 200k serves all the time. But again, as Neal sort of alluded to before, it's important that he stays focused. Because if you play with a player that you feel like you're touching the ball all the time, that's fine. That's great because you're obviously being effective. The problem is if you don't touch the ball for 5 minutes, but that 1 point is juice point, and you're just not switched on, it's more important than anything to be ready. So that's the other thing that we need to sort of keep up with. And that will come with matches as well.
How do you think about, so I guess there's 2 follow-up questions to that. One is, you mentioned trying to simulate the pace. So if Chrstian is serving really big, 200K, the return is probably more likely to come back with more pace too, right? So they've got to kind of be ready for that. And then you're trying to simulate that in this drill. Can you also do that by just stepping closer to the net?
You can, but you do need some type of trigger. Once the serve comes,
Yeah.
you obviously need to have some type of split because you're obviously going to go either way.
Right.
If you just stayed completely still, it could be effective.
Yeah.
But I still believe that from a rhythm perspective, you want to create that uncertainty for your opponent. If you just stayed still, then your reach is only as good as one move.
Yeah.
But with the fact that they make an initial step, whether it's left or right, compared to where the serve is, whether it's down the tee or out wide, that initial step gives them that forward momentum to then be able to reach even further.
Yeah.
And again, it's what's worked for him, and it doesn't necessarily mean it works for everybody. And being closer, I think I remember Kubot and Marak playing back when I was playing, and Marak was literally underneath the net. Kubot had a big first serve, and Marak would just pop up and just knock the volley off.
Yeah.
So for him, that really worked, and he was really effective with it.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's different, and Chrstian is literally like a jack in the box when he's doing it. He almost does the drill too fast, in the sense that he finishes his shot and he does a good job with it, and he's also trying to get the next one. Yeah. And that's not how serving and doing that drill works.
Yeah, usually the ball didn't come back.
No, it doesn't come back. So it's basically resetting and sort of compartmentalizing every single one of them to make sure that it's effective. So I have to slow him down, and I think he probably gets a tiny bit frustrated with me telling him to slow down, but it's just to replicate exactly as you talk about. Once that ball is made contact with, you need to be doing exactly the same thing in practice as you would in a match. Mm-hmm. You're not bouncing up and down like a yo-yo. You know, it's key to sort of practice exactly what you preach in a match situation. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, so you answered the question of like the net player, the server's partner standing closer.
Yeah.
I'm wondering just also to simulate more pace, if you as the coach could just step forward more.
Yeah. And you could replicate second serves in that sense.
Yeah.
I think
they're taking the.
I think going back to the idea of being really close.
Yeah.
If you actually just think of the angles of the court, if let's say you started super close and you were feeding cross to move sideways, you're actually moving backwards.
Yeah.
So that's why having that initial step forwards, even though you're a tiny bit further away, it gives you the freedom to reach forward.
Yeah.
Rather than having to dive sideways, which in theory is backwards.
Yeah. No,
from the. I'm not very good with my angles, but it seems like that also has a relevance.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. But that's one of the big things that Chrstian's had to learn as service partner, because last year he played all with Evan King, being a lefty. So he was moving into different kind of spots of the net compared to when he's playing to be effective. Now he's playing with a righty like me. His angles are a little bit different, and where he has to move at the net. Because Evan, say on the ad side, used to swing people wide. So Chrstian would cover more of the down the line shot. But with me being a righty, I can't get that much angle on the ad side out wide because I can't swing it wide. It'd be more flat. Right. So he doesn't have to kind of cover the line as much. He can be a bit more central and take out more of the middle shots. But that's taken time. That's one thing that he kept on repeating, saying, I've just got to get used to a righty instead of a lefty, and also the pace of my serve compared to Evans, just a split when he's at the net. It's just a little bit different.
It's also the unconscious part of server's partner is when the ball hits the ground, when let's say Neal serves or Chrstian serves, and they call tee, but the tee is a very good tee serve. You sort of know that the player can't go down the line.
Yeah,
they can't pull it because the ball is hit so well.
Yeah, they're
so they almost can they can almost cheat further over to the other side, and I think that comes with playing together, sort of knowing what each other are capable of, and it evolves in all parts, all aspects of doubles. You know, knowing what your partner's returns are capable of when they're pushed into certain corners, and again that's understanding each other and knowing the nuances of each player.
I love this stuff. I could talk about this all day, but I know y'all have to run.
No, that's fine.
Last thing, did y'all see the Sam Query comments yesterday?
Top 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see it.
Have you already talked about it?
We have discussed a little bit.
We had a brief chat.
Yeah.
Are you going to be politically correct right now, or do you? Do you want to share what you honestly think?
So he thinks he could be, or
So he said
any combination of them four.
any combination of those four. So Sam, Steve Johnson, John Isner, and Jack Sock.
Yeah.
They play for 12 months and they can be top 40. Now,
They obviously need some wild cards in there.
I assume he means we could get to a top 40 level. If they didn't get the wild cards, like the answer is clearly no, and I think they know that. Like it's just too difficult to get through the challengers and everything.
Yeah, I think it's one of them comments that it gets a bit of traction.
It does.
It does. It gets.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. They're all exceptional tennis players.
Yeah.
Sam Querrey, he obviously made the comment. He's had his pickleball injury. Is he capable of being physically capable of running around a tennis court anymore? I don't know.
I don't know either.
That some of the guys are getting a bit older. I don't think they can just pick up a racket and start playing ATP doubles and just assume that they're going to win loads of matches. I think the guys are, that struggle to begin with. They do have capabilities of doing well. Don't get me wrong. And I mean, it depends on which combination you would put together. I think obviously we all knew Jack Sock as probably one of the best doubles players in the world at the time when he was doing really well with Mike.
And with John.
And he did well with John. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they both did well. And John's a unique player, isn't he? Obviously, his size. I had a terrible record against him.
Yeah, he's had some good doubles results.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say he'd probably be the second of the four, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt they're going to be very good tennis players.
Are they going to practice for a little bit and then play, or is it just pick up a racket now and play?
The reality is,
start 12
is it just talk, or have they got any interest in doing it?
No, they don't have interest.
They have no interest. So what's the point in talking about it? It's like, it would be interesting if they actually talked about it and actually decided, you know what? Let's see. Let's actually see.
I think that they have to, every 3 to 6 months have to make some kind of jab at doubles. I think it's just like part of their marketing plan, just to kind of get a little, buzz going, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know how much they play anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
But obviously, when they were playing towards the end, they were still winning matches at a very high level.
Yeah,
doubles, Jack, John, Stevie, and Querrey. I think I actually retired Sam at the US Open.
Okay.
Him and Stevie. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, the level at the time was still great, and if they had played full doubles, which they won't do, they could have obviously been very, very high in the rankings.
Yeah,
maybe even top 20, top 10. I mean, Jack was incredible when he was playing John as well. So I think them guys at the time when they were playing, they could make it definitely top 40. I mean, they did, but I mean, when they could even be top 10 when they were playing. Now I don't know how much tennis they play.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
As you say, it gets podcast traction. I think that's exactly what they do it for.
Now we're talking about it. So
well, I think the thing is like the thing you mentioned about the doubles training, right? It's like Sam and Steve played some doubles.
Yeah,
but they never trained specifically for doubles.
No, but
right? Like they didn't have doubles volleys. Like,
I mean, Stevie played a lot in college, didn't he?
That's true.
Yeah, so Stevie, he knows his way around the net. And I think a lot of some of them guys, they don't need to, like with Isner, he's got an unbelievable serve.
Yeah,
he doesn't really need to. And then if he played with Jack or Sam or Stevie, their serve probably they'd be hitting big serves, and then they won't need to do the stuff that we do at the net.
Right.
They'll probably have easy pickoffs.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah.
But
that's the question: is like if they train when people get into this debate, it's like if they trained for doubles, how well could they develop the double skills? And you might talk about like Medvedev would probably struggle with it a little bit, right? But like Alcaraz would figure it out, So it's like for me, that's how I view it, and like it just depends on the player.
And I think for me, I think I have to give credit. They obviously won a lot of matches, but a lot of the time they were getting entries with their singles ranking.
For sure.
And I think, these doubles guys, that they all deserve, respect, because to make it to top 40, something I never achieved. I knew how many matches you had to win at the challenger level to then break it through into the 250 level. And at the time when I was, getting to 40, whatever, I'd have to make 5 or 6 250 finals. It's not as easy as people make it out to be. Mm-hmm. Just because it's doubles, it's a different skill set doesn't make it any easier. And yeah, I think if your singles ranking is high enough and you're playing Masters Series and you're playing for the equivalent number of points of double of what a 250 is every match, you're obviously going to get a good enough ranking. Because if you're good enough to win matches at 250, you're basically playing the same sort of guys at Masters Series level. And sometimes you play singles guys who don't necessarily even want to be there. Right. If you look back at all the walkovers that get given across the year at Masters and Grand Slams, I'd say 85, 90% of it is actual singles guys that just can't be bothered no more. Yeah. So all them points you can accumulate that people are getting all around the year of free points. Yeah.
It's a weird system.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And some people get a little bit of luck along the way, and it's nice when it goes your way, but it doesn't always go that way. Yeah. But yeah, fundamentally, if they're never going to do it, then they can say why do they not say top 10?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thanks a ton for doing this. I appreciate you coming on, and best of luck here in Dallas.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast. If you're interested in diving deeper into the world of doubles strategy, I've created Tennis Tribe memberships that allow me to bring you more podcast episodes, video lessons, webinars, and other doubles content on a weekly basis without relying on paid ads. The lessons inside the membership will help you better game plan with your partner, optimize your practices, and become the smartest player on the court. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to learn more and sign up. You can also join my free newsletter on our homepage, where I share a new doubles lesson every week. If you want to connect, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or contact me through our website. Thanks again for listening.